Dude, Rock Band.
It was the best.
Like, if you were good at Rock Band drums, like, you were good at drums.
Hello, and welcome to the Build Your Own Band podcast, the podcast made for independent artists who want to grow their band in a purposeful, organic, and self-determined manner. I am your host, Vince Oliveri, and welcome to episode number 5 of Build Your Own Band. I feel like I start every episode saying the same thing, but I'll say it again. Thank you to everybody who tuned into the last episode, episode 4 with Botfly. Great episode. It was the first episode that I've ever done with a whole band, so it was a little bit overwhelming to record that one, and I wasn't really sure how it would be received, but people seem to really like it. People seem to really enjoy that band, and I do too. They're an incredible band. And the clips that I made to upload to TikTok kind of went viral, which is wild to me, and there's definitely a lot of discourse in regards to touring as an independent band. And if you check out my TikTok page and you check out the comments on some of those, there's a lot of discussion happening, and it's worth a read. But our guest on today's episode is another musician that has a ton of touring under his belt. Today's guest is Levi Kertesz. Levi is a touring drummer, session musician, multi-instrumentalist, or simply put, he is kind of a musician for hire. He's made an entire career as a drummer, playing for other bands, touring for other bands, filling in for artists. And in the greater Hamilton, greater Toronto area, Levi is kind of one of the guys you ask to play drums in your band if you want a solid drummer who's a super killer player and a great person to hang out with. When this episode was filmed, Levi was playing with bands Chastity and Ellis. He's still affiliated with those bands, but currently he is on tour drumming for Julia Wolf. At the time of this podcast release, Julia Wolf is embarking on a massive arena tour with Machine Gun Kelly. Suffice to say, Levi is an incredibly talented drummer with an incredible credits list under his belt. In this episode, we talk about the importance of hiring musicians to play in your band. I think independent bands have a natural tendency to feel like they have to find people in their local area to join their band and play for free and build a band from the ground up, which, if that's possible, that's an amazing route. But sometimes if you're a solo or independent artist and you just want to build out the best band possible to really hit the ground running and get your project off the ground, hiring a bulletproof musician to be in your band can really help expedite that process. Levi is primarily a touring drummer, but he's also done a ton of session work in the studio. In recent years, he's gained a lot of experience recording himself and recording other artists at the studio that we filmed this episode at, Fort Rose Studios in Hamilton. And we talk about the importance of preparedness for any musician heading into the studio. And if you're in an independent band and you're wanting to book studio time with a producer such as myself, I highly, highly encourage you to check out my demo template. The demo template is a songwriting template that I have created that you can download right now at vinceoliveri.com/template. It is a pre-mixed template that you can download for your DAW of choice and open it up, plug in your guitar, plug in your microphone, program some drums, and by the end of the process, you have a borderline professional sounding demo in your hands. Having a killer sounding demo not only is important to flesh out your song ideas and show your bandmates how a song is supposed to sound, having an awesome sounding demo is crucial when you're trying to get gigs. And if you have unreleased music, you can use these demos to show promoters or booking agents or whoever what your band is supposed to sound like. And most importantly, having a fully fleshed out demo saves a ton of time and in some cases thousands of dollars in the studio when you're trying to work with producers like me. The demo template allows you to get your pre-production done on your time, so when you hit the studio, there's no questions as to what the part is, what the arrangement is, what the tempo is. You can use what you create in the demo template as the foundation for your real recording. I've already had a ton of bands use this demo template before we hit the studio, and they can attest themselves that it is an invaluable tool. The demo template is available for Pro Tools, Logic, Ableton, Reaper, and even GarageBand, and you can download it right now at vinceoliveri.com/template. Before we dive into the episode, give us a subscribe on YouTube, give this video a like. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, give us a follow, give us a rating, follow the show on Instagram, buildyourownband_podcast, follow the show on TikTok at buildyourownband, and share the podcast with musicians that you know that you think might benefit from hearing these conversations. But without further ado, here's our episode with Levi Kertesz. Today we have Levi Kertesz. musician, multi-instrumentalist, session player for Chastity, Ellis, and many other bands in the past. Welcome. Thank you for chatting.
Man, thank you for having me.
Oh, this is great.
This is
We're
cool.
at the lovely Fort Rose Studios in Hamilton, Ontario. Shout out Fort Rose. Levi, you work here, correct?
I'm working here now. It's, I don't know. It's been a few months. I didn't know how to turn on any of the gear. It's behind the camera here. I didn't know how to turn any of it on like 5 months ago. And now I know
You've
how
located all the power buttons.
I know how to turn it on. Yeah, I know how to turn it on.
Right
yeah, it's
on.
cool. It's a cool spot though.
But primarily recording is a newer adventure for you.
Totally. Yeah. It's like, well, I mean, I guess we're jumping right into it here, but like playing live, it's great.
Yeah.
I just needed to work in music without having to like sit in a van.
Yeah.
You know, I needed to be able to play and do something and make some money and not have to leave home to do it. So yeah, I wanted to start recording and I don't know. I mean, I know we'll get into it, but yeah, it's becoming the thing I love.
Yeah.
You know, recording music now.
I mean, it's no hidden fact that I come from the recording world as well.
Totally.
I also love it. It's sometimes a love-hate relationship. I've been doing it for almost 10 years, and there's a lot of stuff I love about it and a lot of stuff that I really don't like about it. And it's not the vocation itself that I dislike, but I think there's a culture around some things of just like, people love to talk gear.
Totally.
I don't love to talk gear all that much.
Okay.
I'll
keep it in mind.
It's all
Damn,
good.
that's all I wanted to talk about.
I love to talk music and I love to talk about songs. And I feel like when I talk about recording, it's very, very seldom about actually like, oh, I pressed this button and this preamp. Like that to me is gibberish. My brain has never really worked technically like that before. It's all about building the song.
Sure.
And that's why I think it's really cool to talk to people who play music that understand music from a very like core fundamental way, and then seeing how their brains apply that to a very technical thing like recording.
Sure.
Which I guess is maybe a fun topic to explore of like, not that we're talking too much about recording, because I would love to talk about you as a player and you as a session musician.
Right.
I am really curious how you as a player, primarily a drummer, but you play a lot of instruments, right?
Yeah, like not well enough that I would charge people money for it, but yeah, I feel like I could say that I'm a multi-instrumentalist.
Yeah. So
almost choked over that sentence.
Leaving the pretension at the door.
Yeah.
But I'd say you're a multi-instrumentalist.
Sure.
I mean, like from everything that you've posted online of those, follow Levi on Instagram. What's your handle?
It's my name.
As a longstanding touring musician, you play with a lot of artists, you play with a lot of great artists.
Thanks.
And now you're in a studio setting. How has your kind of live experience informed how you create things in the studio?
Wow, that's honestly a good question. Live experience, I don't know how much it really has. I think like playing live obviously made me like a better musician. I don't think that there's any way that it couldn't. Like when you're playing in front of people every single night, you want to be better. I think it's funny. I think playing in the studio has informed how I've played live.
Interesting.
I think it's changed how I play live now. I think, I mean, we both like heavy music and punk music and stuff like that. And I think I was playing so loud, especially with Chastity over the past few years. Like it was like, let's play as loud as we can. Let's bash the drums. Yeah. And it was cool. And, you look out and you see faces and you're like, oh my God. But I think going into the studio, especially in here, it's a smaller room and just playing that loud, it just doesn't work. You have to find a new way to play the drums. And it's not that I don't play loud live anymore, but I think that there is, I think there's a new appreciation for dynamic control.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you see the instrument differently when you have to put a microphone on it. Like you hear everything going on with the good and the bad, and you can't just really hide behind the fact that you've got loud amps on stage now. I'm really hearing the drum set differently, I guess.
Yeah, the microphone is really not forgiving, and especially I don't often play on recordings, but when I do, I'm like playing a groove on the drums or I'm playing a riff on guitar, I'm like, wow, that really felt good. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Then you stop and you listen to playback and you're like, that sucked.
Totally.
Just taking away the feeling of actually playing an instrument and just straight up listening to audio that's coming out of your speakers is quite an odd thing to describe. I feel like as musicians, it's very infrequent that we just hear audio out of a speaker without hearing someone on stage or, you're in a jam room that's full of all these explosive instruments. Like it's very rare that you actually hear like yourself in a very clinical way. And I feel like, and I've talked about this before, when you're playing in the studio, it's an entirely different ball game, in my opinion. Of when you play live, you can get away with so much stuff. You can be really loose, you can be really loud, you can even be really quiet. Like, that it's capturing the energy on stage. And then you come into the studio and it's an entirely different beast and everything is picked up in details that you've never heard it before. And for someone who hasn't been in the studio before, you have to almost learn your instrument again of like, how do I apply this to this new medium?
For sure.
And you're telling me that being in the studio affects how you play live.
Totally.
And I totally believe it.
Yeah, I think it's making me better.
Oh,
it's making me better. Like, especially even time. And it's not that I've never been recorded before, but I think in the past, it's like, I'll go in and record and then,
I'll see you later. See you in 3 weeks.
I'll listen to the masters.
Yeah.
But now, like taking it from the very beginning stages all the way to the end, like you're really hearing all the stuff with time and the good and the bad, my time, I've worked on it a lot. So I like my time, but I'm seeing where I want to naturally push and pull and stuff, where playing live, it just happens. Somebody like at the end of the show or whatever could be like, oh, I love what you did in that chorus. Like you totally slowed it down. I'm like, yeah, cool. Totally. I did. But now, having to record it, you're actually hearing when you're pushing, when you're pulling, when you're kind of warping stuff. And so time for me as a drummer is the one thing that I'm really noticing.
And when you say time, you mean just like being on the metronome or your pocket?
For sure. Yeah. Pocket. Yeah. Like whether or not there's like a click going. I think a lot of the times lately I've been recording kind of no click. But even with the click, where like you can... This is the crazy thing about computers.
See everything.
You can zoom in on waveforms and see where they actually are. And so seeing, the snares like be really behind the beat and then sometimes be really ahead of the beat. So I'm learning who I am.
Yeah, it really peels back the layer in a way that I don't know many musicians would even dream to know about.
For sure.
And I feel like back in the day, the golden age of recording, which in my opinion was the 90s into the 2000s.
Yes, sir.
Can be disputed by a lot, depending on who you ask. Sure. So that's my particular favorite era of recording. The line between musician and engineer and even producer and even mixer, those lines were so thick and divided. And as time has gone on and digital recording has become what it is today, they've not only blurred, some of those lines have completely disappeared.
For sure.
And I think there's an incredible beauty to that an artist can totally have free reign as to everything that they're creating. But I also think it has... and this is maybe a hot take, I think it kind of creates a little bit of a directionless dynamic when people aren't hyper-focused on one thing at a time.
I totally agree.
Right? And then you have to go back to the drawing board and be like, okay, how do I, even if you're the one who's writing a song, recording it, mixing it, all of that, you have to like compartmentalize in your brain, I'm in this role right now.
Yeah.
Let's draw that line. Let's finish the editing before I move on to mixing and really separate those roles. And some beautiful art can be made when you're just mishmashing. And I know that's a big production style for some people. Definitely not for me. But yeah, I'm kind of curious, like, where do you fall? Do you have like a very rigid, I'm writing and then writing's done, I'm going to recording, or what's kind of your creative process?
It's like all over the place. And honestly, like what you're saying, I think it's even worse. If that's the angle that I'm taking, then just an artist is now like a producer and a mixer and an engineer and a songwriter. Like I think they're also a manager and photographer and videographer and everything else. And you kind of have to do it all. And it is crazy. And some people are so good at it. Some people are so naturally gifted at doing all that stuff. I think for me, I don't know. I'm such a, like, I feel like my fiance would say, like, I have like pretty bad like ADHD. Okay. And so like, I will just kind of filter between a whole bunch of stuff. I love writing and I love recording, and I find that they both kind of happen at the same time. Right. Honestly, like lately I've had to just force myself to like write 60 seconds of music so that I can make something happen with it.
Right. It's like that discipline of like, I just need to create something today, whether it's good or bad. I need to get
for
something
sure
out there.
Yeah, for sure. Or else like I'll just get lost in like making a demo sound like a professional recording.
Right.
You know? So yeah, I'm forcing myself to write a chunk of music, see what I can do with it, and then move on. And that's like physically, like I have to like force myself to do it.
Yeah.
Or else I won't. So I'm probably a bad person to ask about that because I'm so all over the place. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but damn, some people are so good at compartmentalizing.
Oh yeah.
I see it all the time where they'll go away for a week and write a bunch of stuff and then be able to take that somewhere else. But for me, I would get so lost.
Yeah, well, I have a hard time doing it too. And I have to really like almost like force myself to like, I'm shutting down the session.
Yeah.
Going to take a shower.
Sure.
When I come back, I'm starting to mix. Whatever is on the timeline, I'm going to consolidate it and I'm just going to start mixing. Because it's like, it's so easy to be like, I'm editing and I'm gridding these drums and I'm chopping all the silence out of the vocal and whatnot. But like, oh, that kick drum could hit harder a little bit. Well, it's so easy to just like throw up an SSL EQ and start tweaking this shit. And
right.
Suddenly you've half edited your song, you've half mixed your song, and you have nothing fully completed.
Sure.
And I felt, at least for me, I've hit brick walls like that where I'm just like, I'm not happy with anything that's going on here. Well, of course I'm not happy with anything that's going on here. I didn't finish anything that I set out to do. And I think that's a really, I don't know, a good case to be said about having some sort of person in your life to bounce things off of. Yeah, there's like this accountability check of like, hey, listen to this thing. Do you like this? Does it rock? Because at least like, at least for me, like if I'm putting something in someone else's hands, I have to like tie a little bit of loose ends to give them a package.
For sure. Honestly. And that's why like, I feel like I'm so lucky that I got a drum kit when I was a kid. Cause like, I don't know, unless you're like Antonio Sanchez or whatever, like you kind of need a band or something. If you're a drummer, you can't just really do it by yourself. And so for me, like I need somebody. This past few months of being in the studio here, it's been so eye-opening how much I need another musician or two or three or whatever to bounce ideas. Cause damn, it's so weird to create in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And like, I'll have a tune or whatever that I'll be working on for 3 weeks that I think is sick. And as soon as I show it to some person and they play a lick on it or whatever, I'm like, damn, this is so much better now.
Yeah.
And I find I don't know, so many bands now, it's like a dude, you know? And I mean, like I play in some of these bands and it's cool, it's great. But I always wonder how they do it, you know? Like how you can write without other people. And maybe a lot of these people do, but yeah, I feel like it's hard to create music without that one or two or three other people.
Yeah, and an objective ear.
An objective ear for sure.
Yeah.
And like taking it back to like the people that write and then record and mix their own music, like I don't know how you don't get sick of it. Like
at a certain point, you're just like, too much me.
Like that Tame Impala guy, like how the hell does he like not get sick of his tunes by the end of that process? Like, I don't know. Does he master them? I don't know. He does everything. That's the meme. Like it's one guy or whatever. Right. But like, how does he, like you write and record and mix or whatever the same tune? I don't know how I could finish it without being like, oh my God, I got to re-record that whole drum part because it sucks.
Yeah. I'm very much of the mindset of done is better than perfect.
Right.
But at least like, you know, I've been doing this for a while, but I haven't been doing it for nearly as long as some of like the best people out there. And I just feel like where my learning, and I feel like you can really apply this to everything, unless you're like a structural engineer, then perfect is better than done. But if you're working on music,
you should see the Gardner Expressway.
Oh goodness. Yeah, I really feel like my biggest strides in learning have been in when I've just kind of been like, well, this is the best it's going to be right now. I just got to send it off. Even I wouldn't say like a final mix. I'm like, yeah, I'm done with it. I don't care. But like that first round of mixes when the band hasn't really heard what you're working on yet, those are often the times where I'm just like, I'm just going to send them what I have, because I could work on this till the cows come home, but at the end of the day, the artist is going to have their own influence. So I'm going to send it to them, and they're going to give me their notes, and then I'm going to go back and actually do the finishing touches to it. Because I feel like if I just work on something relentlessly, I'm not chasing my intuition. I'm just kind of like relying too heavily on my references, or I'm trying to chase something that isn't the song.
Whoa, nice.
And once I step over that line, it's just diminishing returns from me.
Yeah, big
Sometimes
time.
I just need to get something out the door and be like, I need someone else to listen to this and tell me it's great or tell me it's shit.
Right.
But I feel like when you're a player that plays in other people's bands, you can confirm or deny, you have your hands tied a little bit when maybe it's not your creative project. You're technically working for someone else and trying to fulfill their creative vision. How do you approach playing for someone else and trying to best shoot for what they have in mind versus what you have in mind for their music?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of like working at any job, you know? Maybe it just comes easy to me. I think the drummer thing, you know what I mean? From the get-go, you're playing service to the tune instead of kind of doing your own thing or like having your own flair. And there's an element of having your own flair. I think that's why people are going to want to call you. But I've never been like shy or like bummed out if somebody's saying like what you're doing maybe isn't like fully right for like what the song's asking for. And like, I think maybe something that I can be stoked about is like oftentimes the choices I make are good, and maybe it's just a few things that need to be tweaked. But I don't mind, like, I think it's cool when somebody has a song and they trust me to do my thing on it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really mind. Yeah, I think it's cool. I think anybody can do their thing and play what they want to hear on a song, but it's not going to feel right. Like, I don't think that there's a way to have that sort of tangible, you know, this is good and this is bad thing. But there's, I mean, you could attest to this. When it's right, like, you can feel it.
Things just line up and suddenly your ears are in one spot now. You're like, oh, that's the pocket.
Yeah,
like a
for
pocket
sure.
can be defined as many things, but to me, it's just like, and especially once again, we're talking a lot about recording. Sorry.
Yeah, we're in a recording studio.
Yeah, we're in a recording studio. We got one behind the camera people in the room that record. There is a certain magic to when you have files in a session and you play them back and it feels like a finished song with no plugins on it.
For sure.
And that's when you know it's right. To me, that's my standard.
For
I'm
sure.
just like, I should just be able to click play, and with nothing else being touched, this should feel like a fully realized song. Maybe not a fully mixed song, but a fully realized song.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I'm sitting in the producer chair and the drummer's playing out there, like, I'm always clocking that. I'm always clocking, like, when is it going to feel like, oh, this is a finished song?
Yeah.
And, you know, 9 times out of 10, it's when the drummer's playing something simpler than maybe they had originally written.
Totally.
And that's kind of why I'm there, to like kind of to rein in a little bit of chaos, but still have it, you know, live a little bit. But I'm curious for you, when you're in these sessions, when you're working with other artists in their songs for their bands, how often are you part of the songwriting process, and how often do you just walk into the studio being like, here's 10 songs, drums already written, play what's on the sheet music or whatever?
I mean, it's like a little bit of both. I think some of the best stuff that I've done has been that sort of like just show up. Maybe I'll have a few days listening to the material. And I would rather not do that, obviously. Like, I would love to jam with the bands. It just depends. I mean, like, we'll talk about like Chastity, for example. Like, the first album I did with Brandon, he, like, I think it was the week before, like, he called and said, I have I think 10 tunes or something like that are just demos. And some of them really were just like a guitar riff that someone sent to him, and vocals. I think some of them vocals weren't even on there yet. And I think I just jammed once with him and a guitar player who I hadn't met before. And then we went into the studio and recorded it. And I think that album, that was Suffer Summer 2021, I think.
Right.
I think that's some of the best like drumming I've done
Yeah.
on an album. And that was just, like one time at like the Rehearsal Factory,
Right.
jamming some of these ideas and like writing. Like, I think some of the writing was done in the Rehearsal Factory, just like a rented room. And it was sick. And then, there's sometimes like, I think the newest Chastity album that came out, we wrote it, we got together and we jammed ideas, and that's cool too. And it's fun. And I think that's a way where you really aren't going to listen back to the album and be like, oh damn, I don't really like that part. I wish that we did this thing.
Right. Yeah. You were part of the entire process.
Yeah, because you had enough time. If you didn't like the riff, then you shouldn't have put it in.
Yeah.
But there's something special about that one that it was like a whirlwind, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And these, I think, those tunes were supposed to be like B-sides, I think.
Oh, wow.
He had done a whole record, I'm pretty sure. He's going to listen to this and like tell me I'm totally wrong, but I think he had a whole album.
He comes on the podcast, he can explain
for sure. I think there was a whole album done, and he's like, I have a bunch of tunes that like lyrics I think he had, and he's like, let's record them or whatever. And I think I had only met him a couple times too. Like I didn't know him at all. And Scott, who was playing guitar, I didn't know him. I hadn't met him, but it just worked. I don't know. It's sick. And now I'm still ripping.
So how did you, if we're talking about Chastity specifically, like how did you end up getting affiliated with the band and getting that offer? Like, if you hadn't really met them or talked to them prior to that, like, how do you find your way into
it? Was Linnea, like Brandon, like Linnea is Ellis, who I am playing with as well, and they are married. Yeah. And so I think Brandon was like, okay, you got a drummer. I need a drummer.
So you were playing
I was playing
Ellis.
with Linnea.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense.
So I had met Brandon a couple of times, but even at that point, like I was supposed to tour with Ellis, and then COVID happened, and that was supposed to be my first shows ever playing with Ellis. And so maybe like a year and a half into COVID, Brandon needed a drummer for something, and he's like, I'll take yours. And so I played a bunch of shows with Brandon now. Like I think we're like, I don't know. I think we're over 400 shows. Yeah. Maybe I'm being crazy, but I feel like we had our 420th show recently. And I think
a celebration.
I think we celebrated show 420, but I played a bunch of shows with Brandon now. And so it's sick, but it was just that thing of, I think anybody who does this has that story of just like a random lucky thing that just happened. Yeah. And now that's what they do. Because before that, I really wasn't doing anything. Like before touring with Chastity in 2021, like I had never been on tour before. Wow. That was my first tour.
You had played shows.
I had played a bunch of shows, and like I've been playing music a long time, but like I hadn't like got in the van and like ripped like even over the border or whatever, you know what I mean?
That is quite a culture shock.
It's crazy. And it was with the Nil Boys.
Oh, okay, of course.
And
you got some road dogs to show you the way.
Yeah, it was cool. It was just like a quick rip, like a week and a half in 2021. And it was sick. And I love it. Like touring is the best. Yeah. I know we're in a studio, we're talking about recording, but like touring is totally the best.
So you're telling me that prior to your first tour with Ellis, you had never been on tour before, not even like a weekend run? Like what was the longest stint of shows
I think
done?
I had done like a 401. Okay. Like go to Montreal.
The classic Ontario.
Yeah, when I was 18, filling in. This has been my entire life, has been filling in for bands. I had a band in high school, and that was pretty much it. I've never been like a band where you're like in the band photos. Right. You know what I mean? So I filled in for like a pop punk band when I was 18, and we went to Montreal and back. But that was it. Yeah, that was it. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, it is and it isn't. I mean, I feel like you mentioned that you've been playing drums since you were a kid.
Yeah, for sure.
What age did you
I think my parents got a drum kit for me when I was like 9. Yeah. Which is kind of nuts. Like I think about it now, like my parents are insane for doing it, but yeah, it's sick that they did.
That sounds like some awesome parents. My parents did the same for me and my brother, and like I don't think they expected us to both choose music as careers. So like
totally.
We're having two sort of jobless kids, but like it was just encouraged. Like my dad just like loved rock and roll, and my mom did too, and my uncle played guitar, and just like they tried to find the things for us to get into, and sports wasn't it. I laid down on the soccer field. Like I didn't care about sports.
That's
whatever.
Hilarious.
I cared about wrestling then, but I couldn't get in the ring then. I'll get in the ring soon enough. That's a promise.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like, what do you kids want to do? I don't want you just like playing video games all the time.
Totally.
Like, my brother started playing drums, and that kind of opened up the gateway for me to start playing guitar. And it's just like, especially in the era that we grew up in, like that early to mid 2000s time, like rock and roll had this like big resurgence in culture.
It was pretty sick, dude. Rock Band.
It was the best.
Like if you were good at Rock Band drums, like you were good at drums.
There were people that I knew that are incredible drummers now that the first time they ever played drums was on Rock Band.
I think, I don't know if he would see this, but like I think the drummer for Counterparts, like the guy that plays now, who I think is so sick, but I think he was like #1 rated Rock Band drummer in the world, like before he joined Counterparts. I know I'm saying this like on the internet, and so if I'm wrong, I look like a total jackass. But
Kyle,
I'm like,
please confirm or deny.
I'm like 90%. Have you met him before?
I have not met Kyle.
Okay, me neither. But like,
he's an incredible drummer. He's like,
dude, he's so good
metal drummer in the world. Like between him and like Eloy, who plays with Slayer, like they're like the two.
I don't know if Eloy's a person, honestly, but
that dude is unreal.
It's kind of wild to watch him play.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think Kyle was a Rock Band drummer, and I don't know if that's how he started or whatever, but yeah, like if you were good at Rock Band, you were good at the drums.
Yeah,
for sure, because you had to play the parts.
Yeah, on expert mode, it was just
you're playing the drum part.
The drum part.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I feel like we had that sort of privilege, for fans of rock music to grow up in a time when playing guitar and playing drums was like cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
I don't know if you could say that that's cool now, or especially when technology made electronic music cool, and that was like the way that I think kids maybe get out there. Creative energy is like through Ableton and stuff like that, which is totally sick. But like, for us, it was like, yeah, you can get to buy a $120 Squire from Absolute Music on the Hamilton fucking mountain.
Yeah. Some like you saying a kid being on Ableton, it's hilarious.
Straight up.
That's like, a hilarious image.
Everything on online is, who's to say what's adopted or not. But there's I saw this like 8-year-old just like create this banging like hip hop track in Logic, and I was just like, the way he was talking about it, I'm like, you can't fake this. Like this kid understands what it is,
right?
And I think it's amazing that kids have access to this technology to create. But yeah, we grew up in a very different time in which
though I still feel like if there's a kid that has a drum kit, he's probably cool, or they're probably cool. But like when we were growing up, yeah, you had the kit, you were cool, you were the cool guy. I was the cool guy because I had the drum kit at home.
Well, whoever had the kit, that's where all the kids.
That's where you're jamming.
Exactly.
That's where you're jamming.
No one's throwing a kit.
And I feel like even with electronic music now, like if some kids got a drum kit, they're probably fucking the cool kid in school.
Because everybody
wants. It's a drum kit. Like that's sick. Thing's cool.
It's the only instrument that you can hit. So that alone makes it the sickest thing in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
But that actually leads to an interesting point that I feel like young kids who play drums early and, if they're disciplined and they take lessons, they get really good.
Yeah.
I feel like the jump from just casual, good local drummer to professional, hire me and pay me real money is like a very small step, because the drummer is the backbone of your band. If your drummer sucks, it's very unlikely that your band is going to be awesome. So I feel like if you're trying to get hired for a gig playing music, if you're an awesome drummer, there are lots of opportunities for you versus everybody can kind of play guitar or play. But, I feel like those instruments are maybe a little less sought after. But if you got a solid drummer, like you could really make it happen for you with them.
I mean, that's what people say. People say, I don't know. I mean, that's the old joke or whatever, that the drummer has like a million bands because everybody's looking for a good drummer.
Yeah.
I imagine that's true. I don't know. For me, it still feels so hard to find work as a drummer. And like, I'm lucky. Like I went to music school or whatever. I mean, I dropped out of music school.
All the greats do.
Well, but I went to school with like a bunch of crazy drummers. And like, I'm lucky that I'm doing what I'm doing. And some of the other, cats, I went to jazz school. Some of those people are also doing cool stuff, but like a lot of them don't play anymore. And it's crazy. It's just really hard to make it happen. And maybe I'm just so stubborn and that's why I'm still doing it. But yeah, that's what people say, the drummer, whatever. But I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a drummer. I don't fully agree with that, but you're probably right.
I mean, I just kind of go based on my experience and my perspective, not only in the studio, but also playing with bands. Like the bands that I played in that, in my opinion, were the best, were the ones with the best
with
drummers.
The sick drummer.
It just was like a clear, night and day difference.
Like that's the bottleneck of like a sick band.
In my opinion, yes. And like
you can't be sick unless your drummer is sick, but you can be sick and not have like a really sick guitar player.
I 100% think that is the case.
Cool.
And people may severely disagree with me, and that's totally fine. But like, I am a guitar player. I've been playing guitar for I guess over 20 years at this point. My brother is a drummer, and he's an incredibly good drummer, Matt Solivari of the Red Valleys. I feel like I've shouted him out before.
Yeah,
but he is so incredibly good that I feel like that made my standard of drumming really high, really early on, to the point where like if I go to a show, I'm just watching the drummer the entire time.
Yeah, same.
And it's not from like a critical, like, are they good? It's just like, if you're awesome, like I'm enamored by you. Like
for sure.
It's such an incredible thing to see. And then the inverse is true, that if a band is just not jiving with me, it's usually a band with a drummer that I don't think is all that great. Right. To me, it's complete make or break if your drummer rocks or not.
Yeah.
And so that's why I feel like if you're an awesome drummer, like I like to think there's opportunity out there for people who are really good at it and understand, and you can maybe elaborate on this, like understand what is needed to be an awesome drummer, because it's so much more than just touching a stick to a skin.
For sure.
I guess I'll extend that question to you. In your opinion, what makes a great drummer versus a good drummer?
Oh, great versus good, like feel.
Would you be able, because it's kind of subjective, would you be able to
so subjective.
Would you be able to describe what you believe feel to be?
I think like, okay, maybe I won't go with feel. Maybe I'll go like super kind of abstract here. I think a great drummer has their ears open.
Okay.
And I think a good drummer, whatever, like if we're not talking about skill, if two people have the same skill level, whatever, objectively, the one that has their ears open, the one that's listening to what's going on and reacting, I think that's the great drummer.
Right.
Which takes a long time to learn how to do. And honestly, I feel like you could play your entire life and still not do that. I think it's just like a personality thing, maybe. Mm-hmm. Where I think that I'm like lucky, like I don't think that the drums are the best part of the song whenever I listen to music. Like I rarely listen to the drums when I'm listening to music.
That's all I listen to.
That's so funny. I mean, unless like I'm listening to like drummer music or whatever, you know what I mean? But like for the most part, like I love just like listening to a song or whatever. I like listening to nice chord progressions or like good lyrics or like a strong melody. Like that's what I'm trying to grab onto. And so when I play, I try to play that way as well. You know, I try to listen to what's going on. I feel like that's not saying that I'm great or whatever, but like I think that's what a great drummer or a great musician, I feel like it's not even just drums, like guitar, bass, keys, whatever. Like I feel like you have to really be listening to what's going on, or else you're kind of just like playing at somebody.
Yeah. And
it feels so weird. It's like having this conversation. Like if you said this long thing and asked me a question and then I just was like, yeah, no, in the song that I was recording the other day, it was super sick. And like, oh, we'll listen to it right now. Like I'll play it on my phone. Like, that's not a good conversation to have. It doesn't make any sense.
As cliche as it sounds, it takes 2 to tango. And in music, it takes 3 or 4 or 5, however many people are in your band.
For sure.
To make it happen. And yeah, I totally agree with you. It's like listening to each other and playing with each other. Aside from that, like, you can just get a laptop and do it all yourself. Like we were talking before.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
If your interest isn't playing with other people and is actually just doing it all yourself, I feel like now more than ever, there's plenty of opportunity for you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I once again, I feel like it goes back to maybe just like those defined lines of like, what do you as a musician actually want to do with your time, and how do you define your role in what you do? And I feel like when, a group of 3 or 4 or 5, however many people get together to play in a band, I don't know if those conversations are ever had formally of just like, I play drums and I screen print the t-shirts. I play guitar and I book the shows. I feel like it's all kind of very loose and you kind of play it by ear, and that's totally fine. But I kind of believe that bands would maybe benefit if they kind of had to sit down and a meeting and just being like, what are we doing? And why are we doing it? And if we're not on the same page, how do we get on the same page? And that actual like communication part of being in a band. But when you're a session player, maybe that's different because, like you said, it's kind of like a job you have, a boss. Sure. But I wonder, do those lines get blurred of like, you're spending, upwards of 200 days in a van with these 2 or 3 people.
Totally get blurred.
And you grow hopefully closer with those people.
For sure.
Maybe friction happens. Like, how do you, as a hired musician, manage the lines between friendship and work?
Like the lines get blurred. I think honestly, if you're not going to become friends with the people that you're touring with, it's going to be hell in there. Like, you're going to want to become friends with these people the same way, like at work, like you're friends with your coworkers. And I think there is definitely a fine line or like a tightrope or whatever that you need to walk if you're a session person. And I'm probably really bad at it just because I love playing so much, I guess. But I think it's so easy if you become like the guy, I guess, where an artist is going to continue to call you back to feel like, okay, well, now I'm in that band. But you're not really.
Right.
Especially if it's not like a democratic process. Like, I mean, for the bands that I play in, it's sort of molded into that where I could have an idea and they could resonate with it. Whereas at the very beginning, it was very much like play the drums and that's it.
Right.
And so if that's what you want and it happens, that's great. But I think some people don't want that, Like, I know people where it's like, I just really want to get in the van and play the shows and like call it. But for me, I mean, I love making music and I love traveling with people. And that's the only reason why I'm doing this. And so I enjoy that aspect of getting closer and then getting more of a say in what happens. And I won't speak for any of the artists I play with, but I bet that there is a thing of like not wanting the musicians to get like too comfortable thinking that this is their thing.
Right.
So the benefit to what I do is like, I'm not financially on the line for this, right? And I know you're calling me a session guy. I feel like I wouldn't necessarily, maybe because the term feels like icky to me or like legit.
I formally apologize.
No, it's fine. And like, honestly, I think that's the term to use. But for me, like, I don't know, I get called to play for somebody and I go and do it. Right. And I guess if that's a session person, then it is. But
maybe a hired musician.
For sure. But being a hired musician, like, I don't front the money for the album.
Yeah.
It's not my money that puts gas in the van. And I'm lucky enough that somebody's paying me their money to go play shows. And so I think you need to have that idea in the back of your mind. And it can get hard, after 200 shows or whatever, to not, start thinking, oh, this is my band. Like, I'm just as, in control of this as this other person. But it's really not the case. And I don't mind doing that. I think as a drummer, I'm just kind of naturally doing that anyways. Like, I'm not writing the vocal part, so I'm not really ever thinking it's my thing. But it's fun to be a part of a group. I think that thing is just, I don't know, it's come naturally to me. Maybe that's just a really long way to get to that point,
Right.
but I don't know. I think I'm just naturally suited to being a session guy or a hired guy or whatever. So I just love playing other people's music.
The personability factor of being a hired musician, I think, is incredibly important. And I wonder if you agree or disagree with the statement that you being a good hang is arguably just as important as how well you can play your instrument.
I think it's like more so.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There are so many people that are way better than me at the drums, like way better. And at a certain point, like, it's like that terminal velocity or whatever. Like at a certain point, like you're not getting any faster, like people can get better and better. And there are bands that will hire like those amazing players. But for the most part, like, I don't really know. Like, you have to be good enough, obviously. Mm-hmm. But okay, I'll just say maybe the one thing that I remember from college, which is probably bad that I've forgotten this much, was hearing over and over again from all my teachers that you got to be a good hang. Mm-hmm. And the good hang thing, you use the exact same lingo, so I know it's universal, but it's so true. Like, especially with touring, like sitting in a van for whatever, 10 hours, just like sitting there chatting.
Yeah.
You could be whatever, insert whatever amazing musician. But if you suck, or if you're whatever, you have weird sort of opinions about shit or you're, I don't know, whatever. You're
a bad hang.
You're a bad hang. Like, it's just not going to work out. Like, it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
And I've been so damn lucky that all the people that I've played with have been so cool.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where I just feel like if you're not a good hang, you're probably not doing it anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm 30. I just turned 30. And I feel like if you're still playing music at 30, you're either insane or you're probably pretty cool. So most of the people now that I meet are pretty cool people.
Yeah. All the weirdos have kind of been weeded out a little.
Yeah. They're just not finding success. So you're either nuts or you're pretty sick, pretty cool person.
And I feel like a lot of people who maybe don't, formally occupied the music industry, or maybe they're a fan, or, they're looking from the outside in, maybe perceive music to kind of be this, like, I don't know, outlier industry in which it's like, it's just super informal and it's who you know, not what you know, which I do think is true.
Yeah, it's part of it for sure.
I have this belief that it operates more or less no different than any other business or any other industry. And I kind of I put myself in the shoes of someone else running an entirely different business and be like, okay, if there's people running, if you're an electrician or some sort, like, how does an electrician get gigs, keep gigs, get referrals, all those things, like a very pragmatic, important job. How do those people run those business?
For sure.
Think about that and kind of apply it to music, because I feel like a lot of those things can roll over into what we do.
Totally.
And that's a great example of, like, if you're in a truck and you're the senior electrician, you have a junior electrician that's still apprenticing and they suck and they're awful to be around and they're on their phone all the time and they're completely useless. And they might know how to wire a light properly, but aside from that, they're torture. But, like,
that's the expectation. Like, the expectation is they know how to do the job that you've hired them for. Like, that should be, you shouldn't have to worry about that fact. And, like, if we're talking about music now, like, if you're hiring somebody to come and play the drums, they should know how to play the drums. Yeah. Like, you shouldn't really worry about that.
Yeah, the expectation is that resume, I play drums.
They're fine, or at least, like, good enough to do it. Like, the thing that is going to want you to call them again is like, oh, that person was sick and we got along and it was fun and they weren't weird or whatever. And not that, like, musicians aren't weird. I think we're all kind of weird, but in a way where it's like, it's going to put you off. Like, you have to live with these people, and some months, like, I see my bandmates more than I see, like, my fiance at home.
Yeah.
Which sucks. But you live with these people, and you have to be able to get along and chat. And I don't know. I think that is the single most important thing to finding success with whatever little success I have. But I'm sure that you could get a videographer in here and they'd say the same thing. Or, I feel like it is so universal, but especially with music, because so many people are so good at it. Like I meet people all the time that are amazing at music and they are struggling to find, success, whatever. There's so many people doing it that you really just got to be cool,
It goes a long way to just, walk away from interaction with someone, just like feeling good. Just being like, oh, I had a really nice time talking to that person. I feel like that leaves a bigger impression to be like, oh, did you hear that fill that they did on verse 3 or whatever?
Totally.
Like, I feel like that type of stuff really goes a long way.
Totally.
I'm kind of curious, like you said, you've lived your entire music career playing for other people.
Yeah, like pretty much.
Knowing what you know from what you've learned and all your experience of touring, playing in the studio and whatnot, if you were to start a band today of your music, what would I want to know your dream scenario of who would be in it, of living or dead, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But I just kind of want to know, knowing what you know, what would your approach be to be like, okay, I want to start a band. I want to get it off the ground in a good way. Like, where do you think you'd take it first?
The first thing that I would do is find somebody that's extremely good at writing lyrics. I think that is like lyrics. And it's funny, 5 years ago, even I would probably disagree with this, but lyrics are like right at the beginning of the song for me now. Like strong lyrics, you could have, 3 chords, no drums, just acoustic guitar, or a super produced with a bunch of synths and strings and drums and all that stuff. It doesn't really matter. Like lyrics are for me like the hardest thing to do. I suck at writing them, but I think they're the most important thing in music.
Right.
So for me, I'd find somebody that's like damn good at writing lyrics. And then just call, maybe I'm lucky that I've met so many talented people, just start calling people, you know? And I feel like that's what people are doing now. Like even the bands that I'm playing with now, like I see them will call up somebody that writes cool, riff rock.
Right.
If they're looking for like a riffy tune, and they'll just write a song together.
Right.
Or find a keyboard player that is amazing, and then let's write a keyboard forward tune, So I think that's what I would do. And I think that's what people are doing, or at least should be doing.
It's like a more collaborative way of making music. And I see it so much of people, like, oh, I did a co-write on the song and, just one song on a record.
Totally.
And I totally agree. I think that's kind of maybe like the more modern way of doing things, which is sort of liberating. Just being like, I just want to create a song. Who can I find that's going to best bring this idea forward and make it into what I want? And I've always felt like there's so much beauty and freedom to just hiring the person that you want.
Yeah.
And I think people are maybe resistant to that because it feels inauthentic to them, or it doesn't feel like it's their band or this and that. But I try to remind people of just like, it's great to like really hash it out and really try and try a bunch of different drummers and find all the, people in your area that can do the thing that you want and see what they can do. And maybe you'll find the thing, or maybe you don't, but you're playing with time here. You're playing like, if you're really trying to get your thing off the ground, $100 can go a long way.
$100 can go so far.
Can go so far. And I think people don't realize how easy it is to just being like, if I give you $100 to play on the song,
totally.
Like, can we make this happen? Everybody is reachable through DMs on Instagram, or they probably got an email in their bio or something like that.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just reach out to the people that you want to collaborate with and ask them. And I think a lot of people say yes. I think a lot of people would be surprised how many yeses they would get if they just shot their favorite person a DM, whether it's a musician, whether it's an engineer, whether it's a producer. Like, I think people want to do stuff. And I think this culture of collaborating that you're kind of talking about is more prevalent than ever, that people just kind of want to get their feet wet in something new.
It's honestly kind of the reason why I was a little bit scared to like try to learn how to record. Like the reason that I'm doing it is so that I can record basically so I can record drums myself.
Right.
And sorry, cut out you from the picture.
That's fine.
But you're necessary.
You wouldn't be the first one.
You're fully necessary. But like, I want somebody that wants my touch, you know, or wants my playing on their music. Like, I want them to be able to call me and I can just send them drums. You know what I mean? And part of the reason why like I got a little bit nervous about it when I got into it is like, you can hire like the dude that played like for Adele, you know, you can hire him to play on your music. So like,
he's probably on Fiverr
for sure. No, I'm sure, maybe not Fiverr, but like
there's a lot. There's
I
websites.
think the dude that played on like Adele's big record or whatever, I follow him on Instagram. I think you can just call him and he's probably not $100, but he's probably not that much money and he'll record drums for you.
Yeah.
So you can get anybody really. And yeah.
Levi's for hire.
I'm for hire too, and I'm cheaper than him probably. But yeah, you're totally right. Like anybody now is accessible, and that's what it's about. That's what I would do at least. I don't know. Like I've said it probably 5 times now, but like I love playing music with other people.
Yeah.
And even if it's my own music,
it's not a solo activity for you.
No, it's not a solo activity for me. I hate doing it all myself. I only do it out of necessity. You know, lately I've been trying to write and record a lot more, and I'm just doing it out of necessity so that I can like quickly make things happen for myself. But if I were to do anything serious, like, you know, put it out, put money into it or whatever, I'd be calling up everybody.
Yeah.
Like I would be annoying, I think. I think I would turn people off.
I think this segues into a great maybe final question. I'm not sure how long we've been at this for. But if you were to put together your dream band, I want you to tell me exactly who's going to be in it, who's playing what, and what type of music you're playing. And maybe just to stroke my own ego, what producer and engineer you'd work with to make your record. Living or dead, or human or not human, your dog could be in the band, whoever you want.
Okay, wow. I would want, and I know you sent me this, and I should have prepared, but I did not. So I'm just going to go off the top of my dome and it's going to be so eclectic and I'm going to think about it later and be like, you're such an idiot. I think that I would want Mac DeMarco to play drums.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's it. He's not writing anything else. I think that I would want to play bass.
Okay.
And I would want Tom York to play guitar and occasionally drums.
Oh, so what's Mac doing when Tom's playing drums?
2 drum sets.
Oh,
I don't trust.
You said eclectic. You meant
I don't
eclectic.
trust Tom York to play drums by himself. He's got to play at the same time as Mac.
Right.
Okay, so I've got guitar, 2 drummers, me on bass. Honestly, I think that I want Geddy Lee vocals.
Yes, you do.
And on the synth as well. But I don't want like, this doesn't sound like Rush. This is like weird sort of like Silver Apples. We're going to get crazy synths going and it's going to be very bizarre and, or like Kraut. Maybe it's like a Kraut band.
Okay. What era of Geddy Lee vocals? He has
like
a range
early, dude. This is like
Fly By Night.
He's going really, really, really high, but we're running the vocals through a whole bunch of crazy shit.
Okay.
Like this isn't a traditional sounding rock band or whatever. Hey, what weirdness am I missing? Somebody on theremin. I don't know.
Dedicated theremin.
Dedicated theremin player.
Just the essentials.
Maybe
right?
Maybe you can do it.
Oh, I can fiddle. I watch Jimmy Page do it. And
for sure.
The same.
There you go. And then John Lennon on the Mellotron, only on the Mellotron. And it's being produced by Bon Iver. Bon Iver is our record producer.
Incredible.
I think that's the band.
Oh my God. I'm
gonna listen to this later.
Manifestation of this band.
Okay, what did I say?
By 2035, you're gonna be on top of the world.
Okay, I got to go back here. So Mac is playing the drums, which honestly, I know it got really weird, but I think that is cool. I think that would be a really cool band.
I don't know too much about Mac DeMarco aside from he likes to smoke cigarettes. Is he a drummer?
I don't think he smokes darts anymore,
Whoa.
but he played drums on all of those albums.
But he traditionally was singer guitar player live.
Yeah, that's his thing. But he played
Interesting.
drums, so he's playing drums with the serious band. I'm still getting Mac to play drums. Me on the bass, Tom York on guitar, Geddy Lee on the vocal, John Lennon on the mellotron, Vince on the theremin.
Woo!
And
got a gig.
And then Bon Iver is pushing the faders.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
an incredible band. I'm not going to put you on the spot as to what the name of the band is, but if you have anything in the next 5 seconds.
I really don't have, and it's got to be like a 4-word band name.
Like 4-word, not 4-syllable, 4 actual words.
4 actual words.
Okay. This is revolutionary.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see this play out for you in real time. I am manifesting this for you. I'm tagging them and
Thanks.
whatever this will become.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed our conversation.
Man, thank you for having me. Truthfully, I've never done like an interview or anything like that before. And I know I said off air, but it's so damn true. When you hit the record button, you just forget what you're doing.
You don't know what
I
your
see
tongue does
it
anymore.
when I'm playing the drums. I forgot how to, we were having such good conversations before. And then I feel like this was cool, but as soon as we hit record, I was like, holy shit, I don't know what to talk about. But thank you for running the ship, steering the ship. And
I appreciate your time. I appreciate you procuring the space. Fort Rose is a beautiful studio.
Thanks, man.
No one's seeing most of it right now, but maybe I'll post some videos and photos of the rest of the space. It's absolutely beautiful in here.
Yeah, it's cool.
Thank you so much. And I always write notes, and there's so much to talk about, and I feel like we got like to 25% of it. So
yeah,
maybe we can do it again sometime.
Would love to. Thanks,
All
man.
right. Thank you, Levi.
Hell yeah.
And there you have it, episode number 5 of the Build Your Own Band podcast with Levi Kertesz. I can't thank Levi enough for coming on the show and having this conversation with me. I appreciate him and Fort Rose for hosting the podcast because it was a great location to film it in. And ultimately, I'm super grateful for the conversation that we had. I think being a musician for hire or a session musician or whatever you want to call it is a severely underrated role in the music industry. Musicians for hire don't often get their flowers because they're not in the forefront. But for a lot of bands, they are the absolute foundation of the band, live and in the studio. I think Levi's work speaks for itself. People who have played with Levi trust his expertise, trust his ear, and ultimately have a great experience working with him. So if you haven't already, follow Levi on Instagram. It's his name, Levi Kertesz, and connect with him. When he's not touring, he loves to make music in the studio, and I can vouch for him. He's an incredible collaborator. I appreciate everybody who stuck around to the end to listen to the outro of this podcast. If you're still here, leave The Undertaker in the comments. Engaging with the content that I put out for this podcast only increases the reach that this podcast has. So even though it is a cliche, like, comment, subscribe, follow the podcast on your podcast platform of choice, leave us a review. 5 stars preferably, but if you really have a criticism, maybe send me a DM before giving a rating. And the best tool to share this podcast is through you. So if you know a musician that you think could benefit from hearing these conversations, send them a link. Follow us on Instagram at buildyourownband_podcast. Follow us on TikTok at buildyourownband. If you want to watch short form content from these conversations. And it's wild to me that we're 5 episodes deep of this podcast already. So if there are conversations that you want to hear or guests that you think would be cool to have on the show, let me know. I really want to diversify the guests that I have on the show, and I want to have conversations with as many people as possible. So send them my way. And finally, I will shamelessly plug the demo template, vincesoliveri.com/template. Please download and use that template if you haven't already. It is an incredibly good resource if you're an independent musician who wants to demo their song and save time and money in the studio. Thanks for sticking around to the end, and see you on the next one.